Hey, you're listening to Spirits and Cousins. I'm Courtney. Today we have a short for you where Erika talks about her experiences working at a mental health hospital. Enjoy.
There was a mental institution. I want to say, was it back in the 60s? I really don't know much of the history. I do know that Ghost Adventures has actually tried to get into the place, but they shut down any and all paranormal interviews and TV crews. And I worked there at night cleaning. So they had renovated all of these buildings into different offices. And I cleaned there, I think, for 3 or 4 years. Started at 16 or 17 years old. So Martha had been around, and I was like, yeah, I've heard this place is haunted, but I wasn't sure about it. There's a few stories. The one building I will never go back into during at night or by myself. It was on the second floor, and it was always the same building, same floor. And their sister buildings is what they're called. I was only the one and not the other. And my boss, like other people had experiences here too. And my boss had said, oh my gosh, the other night, you should have been up here. The bathroom doors were flying, like open and shut. And these are heavy doors. And I go, oh, that's crazy. And he's like, yeah, it's kind of nuts. We're continuing on dusting and grabbing garbages. And I had grabbed the door to a conference room. And you know when you're going to be in there for a second, so you open it up with your foot and you hold it? I was doing that with this door, bending just around the corner to grab the garbage quick and dump it. And this door had actually pulled back off of my foot without me realizing it, and it slammed onto me to the point where I fell into the conference room. Like I had lost my balance. And I went and grabbed my nearest coworker. I was like, you won't believe it. And that was the first thing that happened there. And then another time I was dusting cubicles, and I had headphones in most of the time. A lot of times we would just have one ear in so we could hear if somebody was calling our name. And I was scrubbing this one desk, and all of a sudden, just like hairs on the back of my neck literally were standing up. And I was like, oh, jeez. I remember thinking, don't look up. Just don't look up. You'll be fine. Don't look up. So I looked up, and there's a lot of windows in these offices. And I look up, and in the reflection of this window was a man standing behind me with like an old, like a hat, not like the Abraham Lincoln ones, but like a little smaller cowboy style hat. I don't know what you would call those. And he looked creepy, like just sunken in cheeks, dark eyes, and is just standing there. And he looked pissed in the reflection. Yeah, I never turned around because I was like, okay, not turning around. So naturally, instead of running, I just put in both headphones until I was done with that cubicle because I was like, oh. No, never again. The second floor, the elevator, it would come up and open, and then it would just stand there, and then it'd close, and it would open, and it would close, and it would never drop back down. And it was only when we're on the second floor. Like when we're on the first floor, you would never hear it going back up and opening or anything like that. So it was really weird. A couple of times, so like the bathrooms were motion censored lights, and you had to walk into the bathroom for them to turn on. And I had opened up the thing. It's like 9:00 at night. I mean, offices close at 5, and the light's on. So I was like, okay. So quick to the bathrooms that I left because I was like, nope. And then the other buildings, actually the company my dad works for, but like the corporate office, And in the meantime, I did not know what any of these buildings were. So each building was like women's or children or teenagers or whatever. They all had different backgrounds. I didn't know any of them. And it was my boss and I had gone into this one, and it was just doing the bathrooms that night. And so we're like, perfect. I'll grab the upstairs. You grab the main floor. Again, one headphone was out. And I had opened up the men's bathroom door, and I hear in a whisper, and it was a little girl's voice. And so I was like, it knows my name. And I played stupid. Like, I knew it was a spirit, but at the same time, I was like, okay, like, maybe it's my boss. So I turned around, he's not there. I walked the entire second floor. He wasn't upstairs. And I finally hear him shout, and he's downstairs. And he goes, What do you need? And I go, what? He goes, did you just say my name? And I never said his name. I was just looking for him. So he heard his name at about the same time that I heard my name. And then we both met up. She's like, yeah, that was pretty fucking creepy. Let's leave. So I was like, it was that one. And then the last one, this one, I hate this one. I had heard stories from my other boss, and she goes, I hate this office. I hate it. And I go, well, I've never had issues, whatever. She goes, no, people will hear their names being called, voices, things get moved around. I'm like, I don't know, whatever. I'll believe it when I see it. And this night I had gone up by myself. My coworker was finishing up at another building. He's like, I'll meet you there. I go, whatever. And you go to do garbages. And this was like the cool office because they could do yoga and bring dogs in. So they usually had random stuff, but it was always put off to the side. It was never all over the place. This time I walk in, all of their office chairs are pushed away from their desks. Some of them are in the middle of the room. Their workout balls are like all over the place. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, so I went around, pushed everything in, like cleaned it up, went all the way down the super long hallway, grabbing garbages. When I came back, shutting lights off, I get back to the area that I just cleaned up, and all of the chairs are pushed out again, and like the balls had rolled around like 15 feet, and I was like, okay. So I pushed them back, and I was like, not today. And here my coworker came in right as I'm like locking the door, and he's like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, these freaking ghosts. I was pissed. I wasn't even like scared anymore. I was just mad because it's like, I had to clean up twice after you. So then the same week, him and I have the same building to go and do garbages again. And he's like, hey, remember that one time those chairs? And he's making fun of me. I'm like, yeah. Here he's in front of me, and he gets upstairs and he goes, was it like this? And I look through the door, and the chairs are all over the place. It's like, yeah, you've got this one by yourself. They have tunnels on the bottom part of all of these buildings to connect all of them. And it's actually where they would bring the dead bodies of people who had passed. And there were stories of they would keep people in cages down there if they were acting crazy. And they would just, solitude was down in the tunnels. And so I think it was on or near Halloween or the 13th or something like that. And my boss goes, do you guys want to go down there and just see? I'm like, oh, sure. And we get down. It was creepy. It was super creepy. There were footprints on the ceiling and going down like the wall. And part of me is like, okay, maybe it's just somebody messing around, taking their shoe off and stamping them in the dust. But I was like, I don't know. To this day, I have no idea.
Thanks for sharing, Erika. Email us at spiritsandcousins@gmail.com and share your experiences with us.